Today we are going to make this shirt for kids together, which comes from the Burda Kids magazine. This pattern gives you the chance to make several features such as a mandarin collar, cuffs with vents, and a patch pocket. For this project, I have chosen a printed cotton poplin from our partner Chic. It's a fabric that is pleasant to sew and wear. Plus, the images are positioned in various ways, so you have more freedom when placing the pieces for cutting. For this model, I also need 9 shirt buttons, a piece of interfacing, the pattern, and my usual sewing supplies. Now I place the pattern pieces on the fabric folded in half, following the cutting layout. I pin, mark 1.5 cm seam allowances, and cut the pieces. To transfer the pattern markings, I place carbon paper on a cutting mat, and on this I place the pinned pattern piece right side up. Using a tracing wheel, I go over the seam lines and notches. Now I'm going to cut some pieces from the interfacing. And like the fabric pieces, I add seam allowances before I cut. We will add interfacing to the following pieces: the front facings, the cuffs, and the outer collar band. I place the fusible side on the wrong side of the fabric and fuse it with a dry iron. Now I start to form the center back pleat. I align the pattern marked pleat edges. Pin and stitch. Then I press the closed pleat flat. I place the outer back yoke on the back piece right sides together. Then I add the inner yoke on the other side, right side against wrong side. I pin, sew along the upper edge. Then I press the yokes up. We can now sew the shoulders. I pin the outer yoke to the front, right sides together. I stitch and press the inner yoke allowances to the wrong side. I fold the inner yoke over the seam line to cover the allowances. And I secure it by hand. Now we will prepare the sleeve vents. I start by cutting the vent slit as shown on the pattern. Then I open the vent to align it straight. I position the vent strip along the opening, making it extend beyond the cut edge. I start sewing. When I reach the top of the vent, I pivot the fabric to completely open the vent. And I continue sewing along the strip. I press the allowances towards the strip. Then I press the allowances from the other edge inward. Now I press the strip folded over the joining seam. And I stitch the strip in place. At the top end of the vent, I stitch the strip on a diagonal from the inside, like a small dot. And the sleeve vent is ready. Now I'm going to pin the sleeves right sides together onto their armhole. The sleeve mark and front mark must line up, as well as the sleeve cap mark and the shoulder seam. I pin. Stitch. Neaten the allowances together and press them toward the sleeve. I place the front piece onto the back piece right sides together, fold the sleeves along their length, and pin the sleeve seams and the side seams, making sure the armhole seams meet. I stitch, neaten the seam allowances, and press them flat. Now let's work on the sleeve cuff. First, I press the allowances of one cuff band edge. Then, using a long stitch, I sew 2 rows of gathering stitches at the bottom of the sleeves. I pull the bobbin threads so that the sleeves match the cuff, tie the threads, and distribute the width evenly. I place the unfolded cuff edge right sides together on the bottom of the sleeve, letting the allowances stick out. Then I stitch. Press the allowances toward the inside of the band and fold the band right side to the inside. Here, I stitch the short sides. I trim the allowances, clip the corners, then I turn it out and press it. I remove the visible gathering threads. Then I secure the inner edge over the joining seam. Now, I neaten the bottom edge of the shirt. Press it folded 1.5 centimeters and stitch the hem. I move on to the front facings. I pin them right sides together onto the fronts. Stitch and press the allowances toward the facings. Here, I fold each facing along the fold line, right side to the inside, and sew the lower ends of the facings. I trim the allowances, turn it out, and press it. Then I secure the inner edges over the assembly seam. I will now work on the collar. The outer section and inner section of the collar has interfacing. I fold the lower seam allowance of the inner collar piece and press it. Now I superimpose the collars right sides together. Pin them. And stitch. I trim the excess allowances. I make V notches in the curves. Then I turn the collar to the right side and press it. I pin the collar right sides together onto the neckline. Stitch and make notches in the allowances. I press the seam allowances towards the inside of the collar and stitch the inside of the collar over the neckline seam. Next is the pocket. First I neaten the top edge and press all folded allowances inward. I stitch the top hem. Pin the pocket on the left side of the front according to the pattern markings. And finally stitch along the edges. To finish, I sew the buttons on the right front, the cuff, and on the pattern marks. I also sew the buttonholes where indicated. This is horizontally for the collar band and cuffs and vertically for the left facing piece. And our shirt is finished. This is a timeless model with nice details, shown off by this printed poplin. Thank you for following this tutorial and see you soon. Burda also thanks and recommends its partner, chic.